It really did stand out for Wisconsin, that people are definitely ready for a change.
Right now in News 3, a Wisconsin victory for Donald Trump helps him win the White House more from supporters and state Republican leaders following this historic election.
It basically means we were all wrong.
It's being called one of the biggest upsets in election history. We talked to pollsters about the predictions and what went wrong.
And later, what's next for minority families? We talked to area community leaders about what the election results mean for them.
This is News 3 at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6. Wisconsin helped pave the path for President-elect Donald Trump.
It's an election that came down to battleground states, and here in Wisconsin, it was a tight race with a 1-point difference, giving Republicans a victory for the first time since 1984. Here's a look at how the state broke down by county. Overall, Trump taking the lead by more than 27,000 votes, giving him 48% of support compared to Hillary Clinton's 47%, and helping Trump gain Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes. Many were surprised with Trump's victory last night because exit polls had been showing Clinton in the lead.
But as election night went on, unprecedented support for Trump pushed him ahead of Hillary Clinton. News 3's Jenna Midoff spoke with Trump supporters in the area today about why they chose to vote for Donald Trump.
Signs like this can be seen throughout Jefferson County, where about 55% of voters supported Trump. I spoke with some today who tell me they were sick of the direction the country is headed and were looking for a change.
We need to turn back what's been done in the last 8 years.
Today, supporters like Rob McLean are waving their victory flags following Tuesday's election.
Well, I wasn't sure. I knew he could, but I didn't really think he would, no.
He's just one of many Trump supporters celebrating the outcome in Fort Atkinson. A couple blocks away, Richard Odegaard proudly displays his Trump signs.
It was a good day for everybody, I think, even the people that aren't Trump supporters.
He says Trump was the obvious choice for him.
Seeing another 8 years of Obama's policies was really the downfall for me, and seeing that happen, not for my family, was the big pushing point for me to go with Trump.
He, like many others against Clinton, doesn't want to see Obamacare continue.
Financially, for me and my wife, it's been incredibly hard. I mean, Obamacare is really, my wife doesn't have insurance, and getting insurance was costing us just an incredible amount of money.
The premiums are going through the roof. We're paying more, getting less.
They both believe Trump will bring the change they want and hope for.
I definitely think that we've got a good opportunity, forget Republican, Democrat, as Americans, to move forward and make the changes that we need to, financially prosper and become America again.
The Trump supporters I spoke with say they're also glad the Republican Party won control of both the House and the Senate, because they're hoping that means more will be accomplished in Washington. In Fort Atkinson, Jenna Midoff, WISC News 3.
And some of the Trump supporters say they don't agree with everything Trump says and does, but that they will continue to support him.
Supporters say the most refreshing thing is that he is not a politician. While there was division between mainstream Republicans and Donald Trump during the campaign, they rode his coattails last night in Wisconsin. The GOP held on to Ron Johnson's Senate seat, and on the state level added to its majority in both the Assembly and Senate, and could add more with two races still too close to call. Today, Republican leadership says Trump was a difference maker in legislative races statewide.
Talking to them, these are people that haven't voted in years, if not decades, but Donald Trump was able to connect with them on a level that no other politician has been able to, at least in my lifetime, maybe outside of Ronald Reagan.
But obviously, when you have a wave type election like you have, people, I think don't look discriminatingly about which candidate stands for what issues. They just tend to vote in a big block and follow the leader, and in this case, the leader was Donald Trump.
The majority is the largest for Republicans in the Assembly since 1956.
Former four-term Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson also weighing in on Donald Trump's victory.
I think the fact is that rural Wisconsin, like a lot of rural areas in America, were just fed up. They didn't think the government was listening to them. They didn't think the government was responding to them. Trump was giving them a message that responded to their concerns, and as a result of that, they voted. So Reagan Democrats, rural Wisconsin, rural America came home.
Thompson, who ran for president in 2008 and Senate in 2012, spoke to Trump yesterday about the Badger State. Thompson says Trump needs to sit down with leaders from both parties and lay out a plan for the first 100 days. And House Speaker Paul Ryan says he will work hand in hand with the new Trump administration. Political
reporter Jessica Arp asked Ryan about political divisions today in Janesville.
Speaker Paul Ryan called Donald Trump's win in Wisconsin and nationwide an amazing political feat. He called for healing divisions while at the same time lauding that Republicans will control Congress and the executive branch.
It's an enormous feat in that he heard those voices that were out there that other people weren't hearing, and he just earned a mandate.
President-elect Donald Trump won Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes Tuesday to now high praise from Ryan, who called it an exciting time with great potential, borrowing a line used by Governor Scott Walker in his presidential campaign.
And the opportunity is to go big, to go bold, and to get things done for the people of this country.
To that end, Ryan promised that Obamacare would be repealed and replaced and regulations rolled back. We asked Ryan about those who are not as enthusiastic about Trump's election. What do you say to voters in Wisconsin and nationwide who were concerned about some of the things that you were concerned about during this campaign? President-elect Trump's comments about women and Muslims and Latinos. What do you say to people who are concerned?
I'll say to Wisconsinites what I said to Wisconsinites before the election. Look at these issues. Look at the potential for our country. Look at the direction we've been going. Look at the direction we need to go. And look at what a unified Republican government can get you. Look, I'm really proud of the fact that for the first time since 1984, Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes went to Republicans. This is an enormous feat.
Ryan said today that he does intend to run again for Speaker and downplayed concerns that some are looking to remove him from the chair come next January. In Janesville, Jessica Arp, WISC News 3.
And so far, no other House Republican has launched a challenge to Ryan's speakership.
Poll predictions ahead of Election Day pointed to very different outcomes. The latest Marquette University Law School poll put Donald Trump 6 points behind Hillary Clinton here in Wisconsin and showed a tight race for U.S. Senate. Nationally, several months of polls also pegged Clinton as a winner. Trump's victory has many questioning what went wrong with the poll predictions.
This is going to take several months for pollsters to unravel, but I can assure everyone that this is the top priority of the polling profession right now, is to really come to understand how did we get this wrong and try to fix what's wrong for next time.
Franklin says he had an unusual number of polls with him averaging a nearly 6 percentage point lead for Hillary Clinton.
Despite the number of absentee ballots cast in Wisconsin, turnout for the presidential election appears to be a 20-year low. The Wisconsin Elections Commission says the state had a 66% turnout. This number does not include votes for any registered write-in candidates or provisional ballots that are outstanding. About 2.9 million people voted in the U.S. Senate race. Now, if you voted early, all absentee ballots were counted on Election Day.
This even despite some concerns from Wisconsin voters who say they cannot view their voting status online. And our Valina Jones joins us with what the Wisconsin Elections Commission says about that delay online. Valina?
Well, voters are able to check the status of their voting history on the site myvote.com. But a number of people have questions after receiving what looks like an error message. The Wisconsin Elections Commission says all absentee ballots were counted on Election Day, but adds it takes up to 45 days for the information to be updated on the website. The clerks go through the polls books one name at a time, scanning the barcodes of the people who voted.
We've got roughly 2.9 million votes across the state of Wisconsin that have to be recorded in this system. And in some small towns, that doesn't take very long because they don't have very many voters. But in a big city like Madison or Milwaukee or Green Bay or La Crosse or wherever, it takes a while to get through all of those poll books.
Now the site is myvote.wi.gov, not .com. Now a new law this year required all absentee ballots to be in by Election Day. That's a change from the 3-day grace period absentee voters used to have. Magny says as long as your vote arrived by Election Day, your vote was counted.
So important. If you're checking online, it'll be a while before that's registered. Valina Jones joining us in the studio tonight.
Thank you, Valina. Meanwhile, exit polls suggest Hillary Clinton simply didn't energize minority voters like President Obama has in the past. Community leaders we spoke with say they are working toward healing.
We have to begin focusing on healing our nation, healing our states, healing our communities, and working together as one group of American citizens. We're Americans first.
Exit polls suggest Clinton won 88% of the African-American vote compared to 93% for President Obama in 2012. On the day he announced his candidacy, Donald Trump put immigration at the forefront of his campaign, and he pushed for more border security and no amnesty for undocumented families living in the U.S.
And now, as he prepares to take office, there is a lot of concern. Dave DeLozier spoke with a leader in the Latino community today, and he joins us now. Dave.
Hey, Eric and Charlotte, you know, the Latino community has understood from the very beginning of this election exactly what was at stake. They worked very hard to register Latino voters across the country and here in Wisconsin. Here in Wisconsin, Latinos are an important part of the workforce, especially in the dairy industry. So much so that several dairy farmers have expressed concerns over what would happen to their business if Latino workers were indeed deported. Now, as President-elect Trump prepares to take office, the concern in the Latino community is for what will happen to families who now face an uncertain future.
Well, it's really hard to believe. It's hard for me to talk about the feelings of the Latino community here in Madison. I know a lot of families that have their kids in school, and they're being just so worried about, am I going to be deported?
Now, the exact number of Latinos in Wisconsin who could be impacted by a change in the immigration policy is unknown. Now, to address some of the concerns, undocumented families have a meeting available to go to this weekend in Milwaukee. We will have more information on the time and location for that meeting on channel3000.com. And Eric and Charlotte, while we know very clearly what Donald Trump's position is on immigration, it's also very well documented that there is opposition even within his own party to deporting 11 million people.
You can really see a lot of the emotion there that has taken on some of those
It is a very
families.
human story.
Dave DeLozier reporting tonight. Dave, thank you.
You bet.
Well, a number of area school district referendums got the green light. The Madison School District's $26 million referendum passed with 74% of support. In Sun Prairie, the school district will be able to build 2 new elementary schools, costing taxpayers $90 million. For the complete list of results on more referendums, visit channel3000.com and select the election coverage banner. Next at 6, it may not even be Thanksgiving yet, but that hasn't stopped one local radio station from turning on the holiday music.
92.1 Best FM, it's now called, started playing its festive hits at 11 a.m., replacing the station's progressive talk radio programming. The format change also comes less than 24 hours after the election. There is no word yet on whether the change is related at all to the end of the election. And new tonight, Governor Scott Walker announcing the Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary will resign. Current Secretary John Skokas will leave the department on January 7th. In a statement, the governor thanked Skokas for his service, but did not include a reason for his resignation.
Stay with us. There's more when News 3 at 6 continues.
Well, look at what's coming up tonight at 10. Plus, Gary and Jay will join us with weather and sports. Stay with us.
After a chilly start to the day this morning, temperatures were back into the mid-50s. Later this afternoon, I'll have an even milder forecast for tomorrow in just a few minutes.